Today, we're talking about advertising and a couple of things that you should definitely know about advertising. Probably going to be covering five topics. The reason I'm doing this is because I've been interviewing people for the past 3 years on the Affordable Housing Podcast. And I wish I can just take those 3 years and compress all that knowledge into something that's digestible for all of our kids. Because I think that one day, all of our kids, they're going to buy our home and they're going to be working with an agent. And I really want them to understand at the bare minimum what they should expect from a high performing agent. Because everybody says when they get into real estate, you have to get your real estate license. It's not true, but okay, I figured, hey, if that's the myth, right? Let me go study the materials that agents have to learn. And so today we're going to be talking about advertising real estate, which if you understand the scale, right? If you learn how to market and sell, those are absolutely game changing skills for anyone that wants to stand out and connect with the right buyers and the right sellers. So it doesn't matter if you're a first time agent or just an aspiring agent, great advertising will boost your visibility. It's going to help you build a tremendous amount of trust and lead to more successful closings. So let's talk about, first of all, I'm going to come up with just a bunch of different analogies today because I want to be able to, in order to master this information, I have to learn how to teach it. And I have to learn how to teach it in a simple, clear manner so that even my kids can understand, right? I want to keep the analogies at a fifth grade level. Because if you try to make everything so complicated and you try to make your words sound more fancy, it doesn't help anyone. All this real estate jargon that's out there, it doesn't help anyone. So let's keep thinking of this, right? I like to think of advertising sometimes. The best analogy I can use when I can talk with my kids about it is think of it as a movie trailer, right? When you watch a movie trailer, it's supposed to be exciting, visually appealing. It hooks you so that people will flock to see the film, right? If it's bland and boring, no one's gonna watch the rest of the movie, right? You got 1, 2, or maybe even 3 minutes to sell the audience on the home. That exactly applies in real estate. How are they going to put together the content that's going to help someone imagine living in a home and buying a home, especially if you're listing it on their behalf, right? This is so important. So let's talk about the first thing, right? You got to know your audience, your target audience, because you can't advertise to everyone, right? If you try to sell to everyone, you end up selling to no one. So you have to identify who is most likely going to buy or sell at a given time. And maybe if you're targeting families that want to look for bigger homes, or you're selling to a retiree that's downsizing, or maybe you're selling to investors, right? You have to tailor or tweak that message so that they can feel that they're part of your home that you're trying to market, right? This is all very, very important. If you're, let's say you're throwing a birthday party, right? I mean, and you only want to invite the people that are like really into the themes. So maybe you want to be a superhero theme. So you send some superhero themed invites, whether it's Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, who cares, right? But you might end up saying, hey, let me send it to a lot of friends who love comics, right? You don't just send it to random people on the street. Focus invitations gets you better turnout at your party. Just like if you were throwing an event as a grown up, you have to figure out how do you get the invitation right so that people want to show up. It's important. And I've learned this so well having been creating content the last 3 years is that I've realized that, and I'm still working on this every single day. You have to learn how to create the YouTube thumbnail very well. You have to learn how to come up with the right title for a video because I've been interviewing so many amazing people, but if you don't title it correctly, if you can't communicate what's in it for them, for the viewer, Doesn't matter how good the conversation was, it will never get out there because you didn't market it right. Right. So that brings to the second part, right? How do you craft a compelling message? Your ad really should answer what's in it for me, for the viewer, not for yourself. Don't think of it as your thing, right? You have to really be able to relate to the audience, right? If you're advertising a luxury condo, you got to highlight those upscale amenities. If it's a starter home, you might be emphasizing affordability, location, safety, right? You got to be able to offer them a glimpse of the lifestyle or investment potential if you are selling to an investor specifically. I like to think of it as creating a menu, right? If you're at a restaurant, you get a menu and you want to pick the dish's best features or best ingredients or something about the taste of that meal or dish to make that customer want it. Sometimes I see so many menus where they only describe the ingredients, but nothing about the taste. And it seems like just a miss that you're not selling the experience of what someone's going to order. I don't know why, but when I go to a restaurant and I see a description of what's going to taste like, that instantly makes that menu stand way far apart than any other thing. So think about it. Okay. Now, third thing I want to talk about is selecting the right platforms, right? Sometimes you can advertise your own real estate on social media, property websites, search engines. Sometimes it's just old school, like yard signs, flyers, local newspapers. They all got their pros and cons, right? If you're targeting tech savvy folks that typically look at listings online only on their phone, then your digital channel might be better, right? If you want a broader local reach, you might want to go through direct mail, right? Nice little direct mail listing out what properties have been sold in your market, keeping them up to date on what's happening. How many days are these properties staying on the market? It's so important. And you can highlight what the listings that you help sell. Sometimes old school methods work really well, especially you want to stay top of mind. All right. All right. Let's talk about some just like very legal and ethical considerations. And just remember, right? This is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. It's not an investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. I'm not a real estate agent as of this recording. I just wanted to look for content and look for education materials that all these other people and all these other agents are learning so that I can learn it. And hey, maybe I become a real estate agent one day, but it's not right now. But if you are advertising, right, you got to understand that real estate regulations require your ad to be honest. It has to be transparent. You got to see right through it. You can't exaggerate the features, right, of a home. You can't hide any known issues, especially if there's intent. It's a big no-no. And obviously you can't have any discriminatory language in your ads, right? It's no different again than saying, hey, if you're buying candy bar and you say it's sugar-free, it better be 100% sugar-free. Otherwise, someone's not going to trust you anymore. And real estate agents make their book of business on trust. So important. Lastly, all the best marketers I know, they understand how a funnel works, right? They understand that, hey, where can I drive the action at each level of the funnel to increase the results or the success of my property or of my ads? If you think of the highest level, right? We've all watched TV, we've all seen ads on YouTube. At the very top of the funnel are impressions. How many eyeballs have seen your ad? Okay. And after, in the second level of that funnel might be, okay, well, of all the ads, of all the eyeballs that people have seen, how many of them actually watch longer than 5 seconds, right? So now your retention is a big matter because then it helps inform you of whether or not your hook is working. Okay, after your ad is done, what's your click through rate? What is the call to action that people have taken an initiative on, that have taken the next lead? All these factors matter. And if you don't track it, you never know how to improve. If you don't measure it, you don't ever know how well it's working. And then you'll never know when something's working, you should be doubling down on it. But if you never track it, you will never be able to double down on what's working, right? For online campaigns, you got to look at the clicks, the impressions, the clicks, all right? How many leads you're getting? How many bookings are you getting? How many appointments are you getting? For the yard signs, maybe you have a specific phone number for the yard sign so you know exactly who's looking at that yard sign and realizing what your ROI, your return on investment is, so that you can fix your future ads, or maybe something on your sign just doesn't speak to people, right? Or maybe you're putting it in the wrong location where there's not much foot traffic. All these things matter. All these things matter. So hopefully this was helpful, everybody. I wanted to cover a little bit about advertising, but I think these are the basic questions that you should expect to ask your agent on how they track activity for a listing, because advertising can make or break a property, right? I don't think it's good enough for you to just listen on MLS and hope for the best, right? That might work for a very hot market, but you have to define target audience. You have to craft that compelling message. You have to choose the right platforms. And before you know it, you're going to see better leads, you're going to see better results, and you're going to see better conversion. That's how you set yourself apart. And that's how you learn how to pick the top performing folks. So if this was helpful, everybody, hit that subscribe button. Please let me know in the comments if you have better analogies. We're going to be doing this every single day. I can't thank you enough for staying on live streams with me for 551 days. There's been so many days I thought about quitting, but I always knew that I can always do it for one more day. So I appreciate you all so much. Have an amazing Wednesday. I hope you spend some quality time with your family and friends today, because that's what life is all about. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 552. Have a good one, everybody.